Hello, friends of democracy, followers of the Supervisor of Elections. Welcome to the latest episode of the Ballot Brief. We are in episode 9, and of course, we're joined by the Supervisor of Elections, the Honorable Alina Garcia. And today, we're actually going to trend younger and cooler because we have a student joining us today. Lady Hernandez, who's a student at Coral Park, Go Rams, is joining us today. We'll hear from her in just a moment, but this is a jam-packed episode. We're going to talk to Lady about the youth engagement program to which she's been nominated by the Supervisor of Elections. Of course, we had recent elections in Surfside that were certified just a few days ago. We had elections in the Bahamas recently, and we also have elections coming up in Colombia as we promote elections not only here, but abroad as well to keep democracy healthy across the globe. We also have Father's Day coming up. We came off of a great Mother's Day, which was so important. We've had some changes in elections laws that we're also going to touch, but we have a lot of topics which we're going to discuss in the next 15 minutes. But I'd like to begin with you, Madam Supervisor. It's great to be with you again. We've kept this thing going.
Yes, we have. We have. It's great to be here, and thank you for listening in or watching. And we're very excited of all the things that are coming. Of course, we have midterms coming in August, right? August and November primaries, and then the general election. And we had a great Mother's Day, as you all know. I have 11 grandkids and 3 kids, and everyone came over, and I cooked, and we had a wonderful time. The kids went in the pool. The adults stayed inside the air conditioning. No pool for the
It was a
adults.
warm weekend.
Yes, very warm. But we had a great time, and I'm looking forward to Father's Day. Father's Day is very important. Everybody always talks about Mother's Day, but Father's Day is also a very important. It's a very important holiday because fathers have a very important role that they play in their children's life. All kids need a mom and a dad.
Absolutely. It's really a village as we raise kids. And we have a great young leader with us today, Lady Hernandez. Lady, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We've been looking forward to bringing some youth here. After all, podcasts are geared toward a younger audience, and I'm not sure if Alina and I fit the demographic, but
Listen, we're very young. We're very, very, just a
absolutely right.
little bit older than Lady. Just
Absolutely.
that's it.
Well, Lady, tell us about yourself. You're a rising junior. You're going to your junior year at Coral Park, which is a great school. It is the feeder school of the Supervisor of Elections who resides in Westchester, and she felt it was important to recommend to the youth engagement program somebody from her district, from her neighborhood, and that's how we arrived at you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at school and what you like to do outside of academics.
Well, like you said, I am going into my junior year. I am a sophomore currently. This year, I have participated in joining the Band of Gold in my school, and it's been absolutely amazing. I have gotten the chance to not play, well, spin flag with people who are just incredible and love what they're doing. And luckily, we got to win a state championship this year. So it was really amazing. It was the best feeling
So
ever
that's
to
like the color
record.
guard and with the band, right?
Yeah, it's marching band. So there's band and then there's the color guard, which adds color and a story to the show. And our show was called Center Stage. I recommend you guys to watch it. It's on YouTube.
Oh,
Awesome.
congratulations
We'll
on
check it
that
out.
win. That's
Yes.
wonderful.
It was amazing. We got a state championship for color guard and we won first place in states for class of 1A. So in Florida, we are the best in state level in class 1A
Oh,
Oh,
for
wow.
marching band.
congratulations. That's amazing.
So that's amazing.
Amazing.
You're already
Yes.
doing things that are setting you up for life because obviously lessons of teamwork and coordination and preparation are really important for you to succeed. I mean, twirling the flags or whatever you guys do has to be difficult.
Yeah, it's a lot mentally you need to mentally be prepared that you will be failing, but you need to overcome that and just have the positive mindset of don't give up, don't give up. I had a friend who every time that we would go to practice would be like, I'm quitting, and I would be her number one person. Don't quit, don't quit. Like you're in this with me, you can't leave me. We're doing this together. If you go down, we go down together. But besides that, I also did a lot of things in school still. I was secretary of class of 2028 council. And I was also part of the National Honor Science Society Science Committee and also in HOSA, which is for the medical magnet. Although I don't want to be a doctor, but
So your
still.
family, your parents
Yeah,
are in
my
the medical
parents.
field, correct?
My parents are in the medical
That's
field.
awesome.
Yes.
The medical field is quite, you don't have to be a doctor. You could also go into the administrative part.
Yeah.
The insurance companies need people that know about medicine and all of those things. So,
Yeah, well, my heart has always been set to like civics and politics, and always since I was a little kid, especially when I got to seventh grade, that I took my civics EOC and I got a perfect score. I was like,
Oh my
this is for
goodness.
me.
We have a young leader in the
well,
making, maybe a future
yeah,
supervisor of
or
elections.
maybe a future president or senator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And you helped us with voter registration through
Yes.
Rhizome?
Yeah, we have a club in our school called Rhizome that is all about voting, teaching young people to vote, to register. And we had like training in order to go to people, to senior classes or junior classes, telling them, hey, you should vote. Every voice should be heard. And obviously, we keep it neutral. We don't show our sides of whether we're Republicans or Democrats. We keep it always like neutral, saying, hey, you should vote. We even handed out like a voting registration paper, and they had to sign it or fill it
Fill
out
it out.
and then mail it, which
Because you told me you couldn't touch,
we
which is the
couldn't
custody
touch
rules
that.
for
Yeah.
that.
Right. Well,
Absolutely.
those are the state laws. You because there's a lot of personal information in the application for to become a registered voter. There's a lot of personal information, and that's why it's best that people mail it in themselves. And it's very important for our people that are listening to know that you can register to vote at the age of 16. You can't vote until you turn 18, but it's best to go ahead and register to vote. And when you go get your driver's license, you can also ask to register to vote. Say yes when they ask you, do you want to register to vote? It's always better to have registered and have it done already. Once you're 18, you're ready to go. You don't have anything to do. Just go vote.
Yep.
And I know you're coming up on your 16th birthday, so you have
Yes.
that just around the corner. But even then, you've already been, encouraging people to register to vote even before you turn 16. That's special.
Yeah. I always was big on like everybody has a voice and it should be heard, whether you're 16, 18, 50. It doesn't matter. Your voice still counts, and anything that you say will be heard eventually.
I think you don't have to record later this week. I think we have the commercial here
Yeah,
for
have it right
paid
here.
campaign. We'll just
Yes,
we'll
absolutely.
clip it and we'll put lady because that's very compelling and really to hear it from youth with your maturity is so important. We've seen some kids nowadays that are a little apathetic. They're just disinterested, but you're kind of the other way around, and you're encouraging your fellow students to participate.
Definitely.
And your grandkids are they like this? Are they active
All
and
of my
involved?
grandkids vote.
Well,
All of my grandkids vote.
there's no
The
surprise
ones that
there.
are, of age, they all vote. And the ones that are off in school get a vote by mail ballot. I have a few that are in Tallahassee. I have three grandkids that are in Tallahassee, and those
Congratulations.
three vote by mail. And then the ones that are here that are of age to vote, they go they go to the polls. Actually, I take them. They come with me.
That's special. I did that with my older daughter.
Yeah,
We
it's
would make a
special.
plan. We'd go vote and then go have breakfast.
Yeah,
And my little one will be 16 next year,
it's
so she will.
wonderful. It's
It's a
wonderful.
beautiful thing.
Yeah. And my grandkids, the first time that they voted, they got to vote for the grandma.
Wow,
Which was cool. It was very cool. It was very emotional.
that's awesome. And
Yeah.
every vote counts, of course. And speaking of votes, we had a very busy spring of elections. As we always say, if it's Tuesday, it's election day here in Miami-Dade County. We just certified the runoff election in
For sure.
Surfside. And then how did that go?
Well, that went very well. It went very smooth. A lot of people came out to vote. More like we had like a 50%
It was
turnout, which is
60,
unheard
nearly a
of.
60, yeah. It was,
On the runoff, it was 60. In the first go around, it was like about 50, and then in the runoff, it was 60. And it was great. The people spoke, and we have a new mayor, we have a new commissioner. Surfside is ready for business.
That is awesome. And that's been
Yeah.
a hallmark, I think, of your administration. You've been in this job a year this past January, but we've noticed already an increase in voter turnout in municipal elections, which you can only attribute to you. You take time to go out, create videos, content. You go out during early voting. You put yourself out in the community, and that's made a difference.
Well, we try to educate as much as we can and to inform the public as much as we can. And I think it's working. The people are turning out to vote, and they're understanding that not only the presidential election or the gubernatorial election is important. All elections are important. And the closer when you have a municipality, the closer government is to the people, the more it's going to affect your everyday life. So
So that's why you got to vote in municipal
that's
elections.
right.
The police officers, traffic signals, what you
Mhm.
can do at your house with the exterior, all that is governed by local government.
That is correct.
And speaking of elections, you've often said that healthy and vibrant democracies around the world mean more stability and healthy democracies closer to home. So you've taken it upon yourself to promote global elections. We've helped Peru, Colombia, to name a few. We had elections for the Bahamas. We have elections coming up in Colombia. Why do you do that? That's not part of your job description, but you've made it a priority.
Well, elections are important not only in the United States, but everywhere in the world. Democracy is very important. And in order to have good economy, you have to have a good democracy. So we try to promote our neighbors, democracy also, because it's important. It's very important.
And speaking of the Bahamas, they were really the founding fathers of Miami. The city charter was signed, I
Yes.
think, by more than half
Yes.
by Bahamians who were here helping build this great city.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, God willing, everything's going to be good in the Bahamas. They're going to get their person elected, and moving forward, having a democracy is very important, especially in our hemisphere. And we can't take that for granted. I was born in Cuba, and we don't have a democracy in Cuba.
Soon,
That's why, well, God willing, soon we will have a democracy in Cuba.
absolutely.
But right now we don't, and we don't have elections. So, elections are very important. They are very important for everyone.
So we touched on it a few minutes ago. We have major elections this year, the midterm elections. The primary is August 18th. The book closing, or the last day to register, is July 20th. What is your message to voters as we head into the primary?
Well, make sure that you have a plan. It's important. Like if you're going to go to a party, you plan, what am I going to wear? How am I going to go? Who's driving? Well, make a plan to go vote. Make a plan to go vote. See, and know what's going to be on your ballot. We have elections August, and before August 18th, we're going to have 2 weeks of early voting, the 2 weeks before that of early voting. And then you can go vote early, you can vote by mail, or you can vote on election day. So make sure that you do have a plan. You can go on our website, www.VoteMiamiDade.gov. And there's all kinds of information there. If you need it, or you can call us 305-499-8683. 305-499-VOTE would be the, so you can remember it easier. But it's very important to be ready. It's very important to be election ready. And I look forward to seeing you guys at the polls.
And speaking of elections ready, Bill 991 was passed in this session and signed into law by the governor. Some people don't quite understand the Florida Elections Integrity Bill, but give us a quick recap, a 30,000-foot recap of what that means and when it takes
Well,
place.
it'll take place January of 2027. And for people that are registering to vote, they will have to show citizenship, your birth certificate, your passport, your citizenship certificate. If you've already done that through the DMV or the tax collector's office where you go get your driver's license, you will be okay once you registered with us. If you're already registered, you don't need to do anything. Everything's
So this is for new
okay. It's
voters.
for new voters. Yes, it's for new voters or voters that are going to change their address or their party affiliation. If we don't have which we should have, if you have a driver's license, we should have a record of your citizenship, right? Um, and one of the good things about this that we're doing now that we're going to ask for the citizenship up front, the documentation up front, is that if people that are on food stamps, for example, they all receive a voter registration form, and these are people that some of them are U.S. citizens and some are not. So if you're not a U.S. citizen and you receive that form from a government entity, the federal government sent them out. You think, I qualify. That's why they're sending me the form, right? So some people will fill it out and they'll mark the box that they are not a U.S. citizen, right? But others will get confused, and then that could be a problem because it's illegal. It's a crime to register to vote unless you are you can't have any mental health issues. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You can't be a convicted felon. If there's some people that can get their rights reinstated, but they have to go through that process,
Sure.
and that's great. So it helps. I like it. I like the law because it helps people not get into trouble, right? Since we're asking for the documentation up front.
And it makes the results more trustworthy. You have
Yeah,
more confidence in
absolutely.
elections. And it's really just doing what we've always done, but up
Right,
front
right,
instead of at the
right,
back end, which
right.
the
Right
state
now,
secretary of
when you
state used to do.
when you register to vote, at the the Secretary of State will check and see if there's an issue, you'll receive a letter saying, I need you to come in. I need you to show proof because we can't we can't through the databases that we have find that you are a U.S. citizen. So that happens today, but it's better because people won't, it'll be harder for people to get into trouble. There was this student, a Chinese student that voted in an election. It was all over the newspaper. I'm sure that that young man was not trying to game the system or anything like that, but it was so easy for him to vote that he voted, and then he got in trouble after the fact. So we don't want that to happen. So I think that that's a good law, and that will take effect January of 2027. And, there's a lot of bad information out there, trying to scare people. But the truth of the matter is that anything that makes our elections safer and it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So, if you have any questions, always call us. We will give you the right information.
And lady, what have you seen among your friends and peers and students? Are people excited about voting and participating, or do you see a little bit of a disconnect?
Well, in my friend group, we are very interested in voting. We all are in the Horizon Club. We all know that voting is important. But I have heard from other peers that they don't really care about voting because since they're not 18, they're not going to register to vote because they're not adults and they don't really care about whether the country like prevails or not. And that makes me like upset because just because you weren't born here or your parents weren't born here doesn't mean that you don't live here right now and you shouldn't want the country to be better. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great message. And what the supervisor always says is that, voting is your voice. And when you vote, you're part of the process. And frankly, if you don't vote, you can't really complain, right?
That's right. No complaining unless you go vote. So if you vote, then you have the right to complain. But I think we have a healthy democracy, and I think a lot of people, you know, um, they feel that it doesn't matter if they go to vote, that everything's going to be okay because we live in the greatest country in the world. But that's not true. You have to take care of this country. And the way to take care of this country is to participate and do your civic duty. And that's going out and voting. So,
And elections sometimes come down to a handful of votes. I
yeah,
mean, look at the Gore
yeah,
Bush election in 2000, the recent Surfside election. So local and national elections are sometimes decided by a handful of votes.
that's
And if
right.
people would have gone out and voted, it would have made a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So make sure that you are election ready. Make sure that you have a plan. You can vote early, you can vote by mail, or you can vote on election day, and uh, and make sure that your voice is heard.
So I want to shift gears for a second. And speaking of voices, you've positioned this office to be a voice really for the community and a resource. So we've done two farm share events to date where we fed 500 families at each of the farm share events. We have one coming up next month on June 23rd in partnership with the city of Doral and the sheriff's office. Why is it important, even in our busy work, to do things like farm share food
It's
distributions?
always important to give back to the community and to help those that need a hand up. It's very important, and if it's available and we can do the work, we should absolutely do it and be there for our community. We have to be there not only with elections, but as community partners.
And obviously, this location, headquarters in the heart of Doral, 2700 Northwest 87th Avenue, accessible from all corners of the county. We'll have more information coming up on Farm Share, but it's been very successful. And I think you've committed to doing it quarterly, right? 4 times a year?
We're doing it quarterly. Yeah, we're doing it quarterly. 4 times a year, we will have a farm share. Uh, you know, um, God willing, we don't have to do more because the community doesn't need it. But it's always good to give a hand up. Sometimes people lose their jobs and they need a little bit extra help. So we're here to help
It's
always.
a beautiful thing, and we drive the voter message as well. So as people come in, we hand out bags. So It's very important, and we'll have information coming up shortly on the next Farm Share event. So we're coming to a close, and before we close out, lady, you've been so wise, and you've really outshined us here with your advice. Any last words or advice to your fellow students?
Yes. Never give up. Remember that your voice matters and stay positive.
Oh,
that's so
that's
good.
very nice.
I go. Madam Supervisor, if you can land this plane in this show like you
Of
always
course,
do.
of course. Well, I want to thank God for this wonderful Mother's Day. I had a wonderful time with my children and my grandchildren and their spouses and it's wonderful to have I'm such a blessed woman with such a beautiful family, and everyone is healthy, and that's so important. So I thank God for everything that I have, because everything that I have and everything that I am, I owe to Him. So God bless you, and we'll need to celebrate Father's Day, right?
Looking
Coming up
forward.
soon. Yes.
So thank you very much. We'll see you next month here again on the Ballot Brief. Thanks for tuning in.